So did you promise what you couldn't deliver?
I promised in the context of where we are. If things had stayed constant, I would have kept my promise. But you know, we live in a situation that things are changing. The world, we live in a global environment, that the prices are going up. You cannot keep unless, and I don't want to lie to the people of Kenya and say, let me spend public money so that I look like I am keeping my promise and I am doing the wrong thing. It is better for me to be brutally honest and say, this is not possible. We may have made a commitment, but because the situation changed and everybody knows what that situation is today, the prices of commodities went up. You heard Uhuru Kenyatta say he was not the one who started the war in Ukraine, you know, and all the other things. But that is okay.
Mr. President, Mr. President, I hear you, and I've listened to you carefully saying that if things had remained constant, and I was hoping that you'd explain what is that constant, because you also said
if the U.S. dollar had not been, the exchange rate was not, if the U.S. interest rate was not increased.
It was increasing already.
It was increasing, but you know, it has reached a place where everybody thought it was going to stop. But the next 3-4 increases were completely unexpected. Even today, all of us expected that they would begin to come down, but they've decided to keep it.
Okay.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Elijah Gishoro. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In case you're new here, tap that subscribe button. But if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for joining me. It is because of you that I continue to do these videos. Without your support, I could not be doing these videos.
And that question of accountability, do you know now how much has been collected from that levy and why it is?
But I know we've been collecting ever since the law was passed, and it is on average around 60 billion shillings or thereabout, plus or minus every month.
60 billion shillings?
Every month.
Yes. So
60 billion shillings?
I think so. I think that's the correct number.
So in a year, that would be 60 times 12. What is that? 720 billion?
720.
Well, let me not, I don't know whether, no, maybe six, yeah, I think it is, sorry. I think it is about 6 billion, sorry, about 6 billion. So I think every year it is somewhere between 60 and 80 billion every year.
Where is that money now?
If you look at the taxes that have been collected from fuel, they've gone up. That's the correct position.
Mr. President, let's just take a look at the data.
So don't misrepresent facts.
Let's talk
that's
about
the correct position.
The data you have from the Kenya Revenue Authority, because they're the ones who collect the revenue in their report. In the first quarter, ended September 2023, the oil taxes, the target was 84.6 billion shillings. They collected 77.7 billion shillings. Similar period last year, it was 78.5 billion shillings. That's a drop of about 800 million shillings. So indeed, for quarter one, there has been a reduction. If you're to speak about the volumes, the same quarter, diesel in 2022, quarter one, it was 1.15 metric tons, 1.5 million metric tons. This time round, the same quarter, it is 1.05 metric tons, a reduction of 56,000 metric tons. For petrol, 770,000 for quarter one 2022. Quarter one this year, it is 742,000, a reduction of 28,000 metric tons. So there has been a reduction. The difference comes in because the taxes are higher, more expensive than it was last year.
That is not the correct position, my friend.
Those are figures from KRA.
We have more infrastructure who are using diesel that now we have connected to electricity. That explains some of the reduction. If you look at...
but this is a direct consequence from the Finance Act of 2023.
That's not the correct position. I am telling you...
KRA is reporting,
more
Mr.
and more.
President.
Exactly. So why I'm telling you...
Now, I'm still continuing with the series of the interview that the president carried out with the leading media houses in Kenya just yesterday night. And one of the most interesting parts that Kenyans actually celebrated is when Sam Gituku tackled President Uhuru Kenyatta, sorry for that, President William Ruto, asking him the difficult questions and putting him to accountability to every single word that he uttered during the interview. So even minutes or hours before the interview, because the posters were already out about the pending interview, and people are waiting for the interview. And before even the interview started, Kenyans were trending Mr. Sam Gituku from Citizen TV, telling him that, our hopes are in you. We expect you to do a good job. We expect you to put the president to task. We expect you to grill the president. Because remember, unlike cabinet secretaries, PSAs, heads of institutions like IG and the rest, who appear before parliament and get grilled by parliament on their actions, their expenditure and the like, the president is not grilled neither by the National Assembly nor the Senate, and he only gets one chance to address the National Assembly annually, and that is just once, and there are no questions. So the only avenue you can ask the president some of these pertinent questions is in such an interview where he dedicated his time from 7 a.m. to around 10 p.m. That's around 3 hours, just answering questions of national importance to Kenyans. And we can remember that Hussein Mohammed was one journalist who used to really grill the then Deputy President William Ruto, and Kenyans loved it. Kenyans like it when the president is being put to task, because they can't reach the president. They'll never reach the president to ask these questions. So if the media does not play its role in asking the questions, then who will ever ask these questions on behalf of Kenyans? So that is why he was really trending, and yeah, he did a good job. He continued trending even after the interview, and people really praised him and even praised the other journalists for grilling the president, for really putting the real questions to the president and calling him to accountability for every action that he has taken as the president. And one of the major tackles that was celebrated by Kenyans is when the president was asked how much money does the housing levy collect on a monthly basis, and the president was like, oh, it collects 60 billion. So what Sam Gituku did, multiplied 60 times 12, and it came to around 720 billion Kenya shillings. And he was asked, the president was asked, are you sure we collect 70 billion? And he completely shifted that figure from 60 billion all the way down to 6 billion Kenya shillings. So that is one moment that has really been celebrated on X, particularly the critics of the president led by Pauline Njoroge, Gabriel Oguda, and the rest, them from the X accounts, very famous and very vibrant. And they really celebrated it because they believe the president was not telling the truth, was not being honest with Kenyans. And so the moment he gets grilled to the level of taking back his words, it brings a lot of joy to these people who criticize the president. It makes them feel very nice, So the other moment we saw that kind of altercation is when president was talking about 70,000 Kenyans who lost jobs according to the Federation of Kenya Employers, and the president said that he has had 56,000 teachers. And so the journalists were putting him to account that, do you mean that out of all the 70,000, all the 56,000, you have employed, so that means only 14,000 have lost jobs? And the president was like, the only figure I can be accountable for is that I've had 56,000 teachers, and I don't know about the rest, and FKA should check on their arithmetic or their statistics, The other tackle was about the fuel prices, and so the president was, one of the journalists told the president, you know what, ever since the Finance Act, whereby you guys increased the taxes on fuel, the net taxes netted by KRA have actually gone down and not increased. increased, because definitely when you increase the price of a commodity, it becomes out of reach for many Kenyans, and therefore they opt not to use that commodity. For instance, petrol. So Kenyans who have their own vehicles, they will rather park them at home and use public means, and that will reduce fuel consumption and eventually the taxes. The president was like, no, the reason why the prices or the taxes netted from fuel went down is because some of the fuel is exported to Uganda and Rwanda and DRC. And he also said that also we have increased electricity so that the people who use the factories or industries that depended on diesel now depend on electricity. Thus a reduction in performance. But Sam Gituku was quick to point out the statistics that were given by KRA, the Kenya Revenue Authority, and according to those statistics, if you look at them, the expenditure has actually gone down. I mean, the amount of taxes they are netting from fuel has actually gone down. Even the volume of consumption has actually gone down, and yeah, so those are some of the major tackles among many others. There are actually so many other tackles that happened in that interview, but I'm here to summarize for you because some of you may not get the chance to go watch all the entire 2 hours, 3 hours interview, but bit by bit you're going to get it and you're going to understand. So guys, tell me, and if you're watching this video and you have not subscribed, remember to subscribe to this video. Consider subscribing, consider giving this video a thumbs up, consider sharing this video, consider dropping a positive comment. And I don't know, you guys, do you think the journalists did a good job? Did they grill the president to your expectations? Or is there more you think they could have done? Is there a pertinent question they left? Because even the most important thing really is to really address the issues of Kenyans that they are facing. For instance, I felt the issue of immigration, particularly passports, was left out, and it's a very key issue because this is something that has persisted for over 5 governments, guys. It's not a joke. Getting passports, the CS was there assuring Kenyans they are gonna get passports, and they're like, after some few months of doing that, still it's a cumbersome process. I'm still waiting for my passport. I even stopped checking the progress because you get these assurances. They even started posting a list of all those ready passports that are ready for collection. Yeah, so it has been a really thorn in the flesh of Kenyans. I really wish they could have raised that. But anyway, they really covered over 90% of issues of national importance in Kenya that affect every single Kenyan in the territorial Republic of Kenya. So guys, I don't know if you enjoyed the tacos. I don't know if the journalists represented you well. Remember, they were representing you because there was no way you would have met the president and asked this question. So they were representing all of us, and I don't know if you think they did a good job. Drop me a comment. Let me know if you were on the table as one of the panelists, one of the journalists. What else would you have asked the president that was not asked, or what would you have emphasized in things like that? Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your presence here and your patience and your support. See you in the next one. In the meantime, adios.